The Off-Road Podcast is sponsored by Warren, Power Tank, and Medical Gear Outfitter.
Off-Road Podcast, episode 304, Rick's Overland Recap.
Tonight, Aaron hammers some nails, Jeremy installs some Jeep parts, and Ben unplugs from the grid.
Welcome to the Off-Road Podcast, a podcast about everything off-road. We cover the news, review products, and interview people in the off-road industry. I'm your host, Ben, and I'm here with my co-hosts, Aaron and Jeremy, and our special guest, Rick.
The Weekend Review is brought to you by Medical Gear Outfitters. What are you waiting for? Are you waiting to have a casualty on the trail? Check out medicalgearoutfitters.com to get straightened out. Medical Gear Outfitters has everything you need, whether you're going out for the day or traveling on a year-long expedition. Head over there to get off-road specific kits that meet all of your needs. And while you're there, make sure you use Off-Road Podcast for 10% off. So speaking of Medical Gear Outfitters, did you have to use any medical gear while you were out?
We did have to use a couple of Band-Aids.
Did you get a boo-boo?
That was it. Yeah, I got one and Karen got one. So,
Is that what you get for running around naked through the sagebrush?
who said I was doing that? Were you
We know
peeking
you.
through the sagebrush?
We know you.
We know you just a little too well.
Is that Coy calling me the old guy?
I just think so.
I have to assume because it, yeah. Probably.
That's what I figured.
So I went camping, was it 2 weeks ago? And my friend and I, we were sitting there and she had to pull out we pulled out our first aid kits because one of the kids scraped a knee or something. And it was funny because we were sitting there and we got to the point where we started comparing what they had and what I had. And like there was one thing that she had that I didn't have. And
You're talking about first aid kits, right?
first
I
aid
think
kit.
so.
Okay.
I think so.
And it was the CPR mask. And I'm like, I own a CPR mask. I thought I put it back in the bag, but it's too big for my roll-up bag. So it's in my glove box. I'm like, oh, there it is.
Oh, you have a full-fledged CPR mask, then you don't have just like a little sandwich bag with a hole in it.
No, mine's like a full-fledged one, and it also has a child one. In case people are weird about that, I'm trying to just get in there and do it. I mean, that's I'm saying not worrying about a barrier type deal.
Gotcha.
What am I gonna do? Get COVID from it? Oh well, if they need CPR, it's worth saving their life, right?
Correct.
Well, Jeremy, what's up, man?
On the spot.
Right to me when I'm still trying to upload photos.
Okay, screw Jeremy. Okay, Aaron, what's up, man?
Wow.
Jeremy's still a little quiet. We need to bump him up. Here's what I've been up to. I'll talk over Jeremy while he's still uploading photos. I went over to where I'm storing the Nissan Titan with the intentions of pulling all the spark plugs out and testing the compression. And it was Friday end of the day. I was tired. It was a big work week. I was just done. So I went over and just chewed the fat with my buddy for a couple hours instead. So didn't work on the Titan last week, but I did over the weekend work on my pole barn, my new shop. I installed all the treated wood that goes around the base of the poles so that we can pour a concrete slab in there. So next step is I need to go get some rebar so that I can get that all ready to pour. I guess I got to find somebody to finish the concrete for me because that is not in my wheelhouse at all.
Well, that's a hard one. Finishing concrete's not fun.
Yeah.
Any of the stuff it looks like garbage.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure I could make it flat because it almost always goes flat by itself. But making it smooth like the polished floors in Costco is going to be tricky for me. So, or maybe I should say Home Depot.
You gonna put any sort of like a liner on it or anything?
On top of it, like do the flex with the epoxy.
Yep.
I may. I got to think about it. I did that in my last shop house garage that I built. And it was okay. It's not as awesome as they make it seem. Like driving cars in and out every day because I park my cars in my garage if I can. It wore it out. So yeah,
Yeah.
and it wasn't like a Wish brand or anything either. It was a good name brand that I put down. Um, so beyond worked on the pole barn, I got my 3D printer going for sure now, and have been printing away little dumb tchotchke toys for my kids and for myself to play with. I think my favorite thing that I've printed so far are these like cards that are about let's say 5 by 8, and you snap these airplane pieces out of them and you super glue the airplanes together, and you got these little tiny 4-inch long replicas of F-16s and P-38 Lightnings and C-130s and stuff like that. So that's been pretty fun, and my son loves them. And they're quick too. They only print in like an hour and a half or 2 hours to print those, so it's pretty quick and rewarding. And the last thing I did was worked on my lawn tractor. So I was mowing the grass last week and hit a rock that was buried in the dirt, and it totally bent the blade really bad. So I got some new blades. And while I was doing that, I found out that it really sucks to drop the mower deck on my riding mower, because you got to take those, those cotter keys that you have to, after you shove it through the hole, you have to bend one of the ends over. There's 3 of those, and every single one of them broke as I was trying to take them out, which I expected. They suck like that. Please excuse my dog in the background. Apparently, somebody must have knocked on our door. Um, so the holes that they go through, I drilled them out just a tiny bit, and I used some of those. Have those rings that it's got like a peg on it, and you can flip it out 180 degrees. You slide it through the hole and flip it back down. I'm not
Oh
sure what
yeah.
you'd call it, like a quick ring or a quick pin ring or
Hitch pin,
something.
isn't it?
It maybe, I'm not sure, but
Cotter pin?
No,
no,
No.
no, not a
Yeah.
cotter pin, but
I believe
whatever
it's a
it
hitch
is, it's
pin.
like a hitch pin, a spring pin, whatever that is. I drilled out just like maybe a 16th of an inch so it would fit that. So, yeah, so that's what I did.
Nice.
How about you, Ben? What are you doing?
I finish up. I had mentioned working on the solar box. I finished that up. We'll be talking about that more later in a future episode. I think 2 episodes from now. Other than that, I ordered some new gas struts for the trailer, that rear back door. Apparently, I bent one, and then I really bent it when I went to close it the other day, and it like popped off the little pin that holds it. So I was like, I better order new ones of those. Took a little work to figure out the right part number, surprisingly enough, because of how heavy duty they are. There's only like 2 companies that make them. And then I'm going over to Pete's this weekend to finish up my skid plates. I'm pretty excited. Finally.
It's about time.
Oh, it was funny. So they came over for dinner. What was it, like week or two ago? And they got brought up, and it's like, oh yeah, we gotta finish those, huh? I was like, yeah, we do. One of these days. And so he got the part. His wife's like, well, I'll get the parts ordered because she's working from home now. So she got the parts ordered, and we just gotta get together. So I'm going over there this weekend. Our wives are friends, so it's kind of nice that we can go over there as a couple and hang out, and we can dink around in the garage while they hang out and do whatever wife stuff they're gonna do.
You sure you're still gonna have all the parts?
Yes, they've all been at Pete's house sitting on the table, and if they're not there, you can cut out new parts because we've got to cut out one of the plates, recut out one of the plates because we had to move the holes, and it's too difficult to cut and all that. So we're just gonna cut new plates. Or
Like
a
too
new,
difficult to just re-drill,
yeah, it's
drill new holes or auger it out, or
Yeah, it where it's positioned. It's just a terrible spot because they're they're about an inch long, a half inch wide, or something like that. So they're not straight holes; they're oblong. So
Gotcha.
just bad positioning. So we're just gonna cut new plates, and then we actually might start talking about my bumper too. And, we'll see how long that takes. All depends upon time.
Rear one, I'm assuming.
Yes, rear one. I need a rear bumper before I can do 35s. Well, to hold my spare tire.
Needs a strong word, but
Need is a strong word, but I would really like to have a tire carrier that will accommodate my 35-inch tire and some
You
other
got a roof rack, don't you?
I mean, at least temporarily.
Yeah.
Why don't you just
right now
why don't
my
you just
roof rack has a
suck
tint
the
on it.
tire up underneath?
It won't fit
Suck
up
the tire
under
up
there.
underneath.
I can,
What? Toyota didn't plan for fitting 35s underneath their vehicles?
only a 33. Like that's like max.
I couldn't even get a 33 on my Tacoma
Yeah.
without
no.
like
Weird.
it literally touching the exhaust.
Huh. Well, because
I
Nissan
don't have to worry about
must have thought ahead. Nissan must have thought ahead because you can fit 35s. You can fit like 12-inch wide 35s underneath the Nissan Frontier, but I don't know. Nissans aren't as good as Toyotas, I guess.
Yeah.
And 3D printed rear member gears.
Yeah.
Well, Jeremy, what about you? Or are you still uploading?
Well, actually, I hit the end. Apparently, you can only have 100 photos uploaded, so we're gonna have to delete some as we start talking through them, and then I'll upload them as we're going through the episode. But
We'll probably all be bored and asleep by then.
on the Jeep end, I got the brakes bled. Both drive shafts are in. I put the battery in. It's still disconnected, but it's at least in the right spot, and it's mounted in. The rear fender liners went in. I still am waiting for the front ones because I'll need to. Well, first I need to trim those ones to fit for the Falcon shocks, but also I'm gonna need to. I'm going to need to pull those out in order to get to the steering box anyway when the steering box comes. So I'm just going to leave those out even if I do end up driving it. It is technically drivable now.
Technically.
Yeah.
You say technically, but I haven't seen any pictures of it on the road. I would just be rocking it.
Well,
Start breaking those gears in.
I still got to look. Yeah, I know. I kind of need to. I'm probably like another day or so of work, and by day or so I mean like a few hours of work, because I do still need to fully bead the tires. So I still haven't started up the Jeep yet, so I haven't run the air compressor to set the beads. But so I need to do that, and then just I go through all the fluids and make sure everything's good to go before I take it out and start
So-
driving it.
Did you have the wife help you bleed the brakes?
Yeah,
Or
and
did
she
you
wasn't very
do it?
happy.
Oh.
She wasn't very happy.
Really? Like
Yeah.
that's an easy thing to do. Like, hey, I need to breed these brakes so that I can get this out of here soon.
Well,
What are
he
you
gave
doing
her
to
the
the-
wrench. That's why.
No. She was pumping and she didn't like it.
Oh, you should have just had Jude come out there.
That's
Well, I mean,
that's the better end to be on, honestly. Otherwise,
Honestly,
you get it in your eyes.
I used a hose to deflect it directly into the catch pan. So, I did it the
Wise.
smart way. But while I was doing that, I just flushed the entire system because I mean it's been, the system's been open to air for like what, 9 months.
Something
So
like
I can only imagine how much moisture that the brake fluid absorbed during that time and how much of a problem that would be. So I just went through and bled the whole thing. So she was pumping for a while.
I've got a power bleeder you can borrow.
What? You do? Oh man. You tell me this.
I've got one also. I've got one also.
Oh man.
I might
need
have to hit
those.
you up on that, Rick, just to firm up my brakes. Because all I've got is just hand bled ones, and they're, with a power
I think
bleeder,
I just saw
brake response.
I think I just saw a ghost go behind Rick.
And then other than that, I had to put in some new riv nuts. So some of the riv nuts for my Fender flares, were kind of not sized appropriately. So I ended up having to go in and drill out some of the holes and put in new riv nuts. So those will go back on once I have a chance to wash it. Because I just while they're off, it's like, I might as well get all the dirt that got up underneath the Fender flares. I might as well get rid of all
That
that.
makes sense.
But other than that, we're getting close to go time. I think I'm gonna end up. Go ahead.
Did you find out if your drive shafts are going to work for you?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Was there some worry that they would?
Yeah, they might be a little bit too long. So we'll see. If the tire doesn't move from where it is currently, so as in I don't have to move the front axle back or the back axle front. If I don't have to move them at all in those directions, then it'll be fine.
What if you use that as an excuse to get the next size up tires?
Get
Because if you go to
42s.
like you get 42s or 43s, that'd probably take care of your drive shaft length problem.
Would it though?
No.
No, I don't think it would.
Worth a try.
Plus, I don't know that I want to go 42s because I don't
I'll
want to
say anything.
breaking stuff.
I know you
Dynatrack
don't.
only recommends these axles up to 40s, so
Yeah.
I think I'll probably be fine on 40s.
So when you're ready for Tahuya, what am I coming with and gonna follow you around and camera you up?
Most definitely.
All right.
He'll pull you around.
Yeah.
No. I my Forerunner's not going to be able to go on the same trails as his rig on 40s. Well, I mean,
That's
it
what I'm
could go on
saying. He'll pull you. He'll pull you around.
I think
No.
the plan was he was going to jump in with me.
I was just gonna jump in passenger.
Shoot video.
I want to see you just rescue him all day long. Out on
Just
the,
have him
is it
hooked
the
up to
west,
the
the
rope
west
the whole
loop.
time. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
don't
can't
think I
wait.
could make it onto West Loop.
You could make it onto West Loop. There's two gatekeepers, and honestly, the gatekeeper you've seen is not that difficult. It looks a whole lot worse than it is. You'd be able to make it on, especially. I mean, I wouldn't do it without skid plates, but once you get
There you
skid
go.
plates, you'll
Yeah,
be
well,
fine.
and I'm still gonna have to get a gas tank skid too.
Yeah, you'll want that.
Yeah.
I got one on my Titan. I'll sell you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Is it an actual steel one or is it a tinfoil one?
Well, it's both. It's a steel tinfoil one.
Yeah, my tinfoil one. I was looking at it the other day. I'm like, oh yeah, I still haven't replaced that. So I need to get that done. Well, Rick, what about you, man? What you been up to since you got back?
Just recovering mostly. A lot of laundry, a lot of cleaning on the Jeep, and trying to source an axle.
Still?
No, I got one now, but that's what I've been doing.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That's brutal. I'm looking forward to hearing about it in the main topic.
You going to Dana 60s?
On the trailer?
Oh, on the trailer. Okay.
Probably not. I am going bigger.
On your axle though.
Yeah.
So what are you doing to replace that axle? We'll get into the axle issue later in the main topic, but so you're going to replace an axle on your trailer. Why don't you tell everybody what kind of trailer you have? I guess maybe to start with.
It's an M 416. So it's just the old military Jeep trailer, and it currently has a 2,200 pound axle under it, and I'm going to go up to 3,500 pound with brakes.
Ooh.
Yes.
Do you have a 7
And
already on your truck, on your Jeep?
Have what?
A 7-pin plug for the e-brake?
Yes.
The brakes?
Yes. It's got the tow package and all that stuff in it. So
I know that would have been very helpful when we were in Nevada going down that hill.
Indeed.
Good
Yeah.
time to upgrade.
That was saucy. So how about the suspension of the trailer? Is that going to change at all?
No, I really like the suspension. I like the ride. It's a nice soft ride. So I'm going to keep those springs. I may, beef up the ends, or make sure they're all good, of course. But I'm going to stick with that.
Cool.
Hey guys, we're looking to reach more listeners. We're going to start reading Apple iTunes reviews on air. If you hear yours, send us a message with your address, and we'll send you an Off-Road Podcast sticker. You can find all of our social media by just searching our name. Now, go hit that subscribe button.
On the queuing.
Caught off guard. Speaking of Patriot Patch, here is the May exclusive. We talked about this one. Defending land, sea, air, and space. It is a tribute to the U.S. Armed Forces. And Jeremy, what are we celebrating in May? Not Mother's Day.
Memorial Day.
There we go. Memorial Day.
Winner.
Yep. So make sure you go over Patriot Patch, check their stuff out. Ben's showing up his drink. He's got a Patriot drink. So we got some news. Oh dear. It's Bronco news.
The news is brought to you by PowerTank, the ultimate mobile onboard air system for performance, versatility, and reliability. They are your source for all air-related accessories. Check them out at powertank.com.
Speaking of PowerTech, I cannot wait to get these 40s off-road so I can see just how fast I'm going to be able to air down and up.
I'm looking forward to seeing how fast it is. Like I wish we could do a realistic comparison. Well, actually, you could do a realistic comparison because you can use the regular valves and then use the monster valves later, right?
Yeah, I mean, both valves are there, so
I mean, you'll
True,
be able to do like a real world. Hey, this is how fast it is with the monster valve. This is how fast it is with the regular valve, and then you can go twin compressor and power tank compressor.
yeah, we just do all of them.
Yep,
All
the
of them
things.
cheap.
All in one, yeah. I mean, it gives you a nice control.
That it does. Oh, I can't wait. I'm so
Yep.
close. I can taste it.
So close. Well, today's Bronco news is we've got a video of the Bronco Sport conquering Hell's Gate like it was a walk in the park. It's kind of interesting how much they get talked down because they're the sports, the crossover ones, but it's
Well,
nice to
yeah.
be there and tested.
I will say, and I have never been to Moab. It's on my to-do list, and I obviously have never driven Hell's Gate, but I don't think clearance is the issue.
No,
with-
it's
And
traction.
that's the biggest issue that you have with like the sport.
Yeah.
I mean, didn't they take like a whatever the hamster car was up?
No, that's the hamster car is a Kia Soul. They took like a Kia
A Kia
Sedona
Sorento.
or
Yeah.
Sorento. Yeah, an SUV. But yes, they did.
Yeah.
Technically, I feel like for Hell's Gate you need traction. Period.
4-wheel drive and traction.
And actually,
Well, you don't need traction because our guest last week said he did it in 2-wheel drive.
Oh.
Yep.
Trail
Well,
Mater.
I've heard a lot of people talk about Hell's Gate and actually talk about how the stock or closer to stock vehicles actually do better than like the highly modified vehicles on that obstacle.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm no Hell's Gate aficionado. Never been there. It's on the list.
Yeah, when I did it,
the next article is also about the Bronco Sport, and it's talking about how it overheats while it's off road. Bum bum bum.
I want to hear Rick's story first.
Oh, I was just going to say when I did it, I mean, you really, I liked the 4-wheel drive mainly because you had the low range, put it in low range to creep up it and have more control. But I didn't really feel like I had to have 4-wheel drive.
Also, it was probably a professional driver, so don't just think you can send your Bronco Sport up Hell's Gate or
Full send.
What What about your Ford Escape? Because it's based off of the Ford Escape platform. Should I be able to take that there?
Sure. Okay, Aaron, tell us about the Bronco Sport overheating.
So there was a journalist run with these Bronco Sports, and one of them, which was a lesser model, it was the Outer Banks model, and I'm not sure what their lineup is. I didn't dig into it, but the Outer Banks model attempted to ascend a hill and tried several times, and then had the journalists had to stop because they got an indicator light that says 4-wheel drive temporary disabled, and the owner's manual said it indicates an overheating condition. So the Outer Banks model doesn't have the liquid cooled power transfer unit, which is something that apparently cools the Badland trim models. So if you get the hardcore Badlands model, apparently comes with that, you shouldn't have this overheating issue. So there you go. If you are going to go to Moab with your Bronco Sport, make sure you got the Badlands model.
Yeah, it's interesting because I'm reading this, and they talked about they're playing around in the dunes for a little bit before they went towards this hill, and he cops it up to that being part of the reason it was getting hot. So,
Yeah.
Were they like in 4 low running like 40 miles an hour or something?
The sport box doesn't cool off the same as like a transfer case does.
And that is a separate issue. So that's 2 times it's happened to journalists that they're talking about. But they do say that they just let it sit for 5 minutes and it was good to go after that. So just gotta wait. You just have to be patient, or buy the better model, or buy a legit Bronco.
I wonder if in the future that's going to cause some overheating issue or premature failures in those gearboxes, because they're heating up and not staying cool, and then people not doing maintenance, and then they blow up. And
it could, or maybe that's the whole point of the limp mode, is to stop that from happening as well. So yeah, I think that the Bronco Sport is great, but I think you need to save it for the Forest Service roads. Don't take it to the dunes. Don't take it to Moab.
Yeah, I would definitely hate to have that thing do that when you're trying to go up an obstacle like Hell's Gate.
Yes. Yep. Well, Rick, did you sign up for our giveaway?
No.
Did you know about our giveaway?
I did. I heard about it, but I've been on the road a lot.
You're a friend of the show, so even if we drew your name, we're not going to let you win.
That's what I figured.
But still go sign up.
You already have all this stuff anyways. You don't need any of this stuff.
I need all that stuff.
You need all of it?
Yeah, he wants that Warren Evo 10S, that 10-pound power tank package A, the Medical Gear Outfitters first aid kit, the Overlander, the Warren Bluetooth hub, and a $250 Tread Lightly subscription, huh?
I bet Rick already has a Tread Lightly subscription.
No,
not yet. Well, we'll
maybe I'll win one.
Your arm and, we'll twist your arm and talk you into to getting one. So yeah, so this giveaway is in celebration of our 300th episode, which was 4 episodes ago, and this giveaway is going to happen until July 4th. So make sure you sign up, follow through all the things, and I have a feeling that some of the people listening aren't on our Facebook group called Off-Road Podcast Fans, which we're still taking names for a better name, because I know all of you listening aren't fans. You just listen because you hate us. So let us know what a better name is for that group.
Winner gets a sticker.
There you go.
Go prepared with Warren Industries. They produced the first recreational winch in 1959 and lead the industry with their dedication to quality and reliability. When you dig yourself in deep, make sure you have the right tools to get yourself out. Get Warren equipped and go where others can't. Now, let's get ready for adventure and head into our main topic.
Rick, we finally get to talk about your trip, and we also got to start this out with the Fast Five Facts because you have never done them, and you've been on the show what, twice now?
Something like that.
All
I've
right,
lost count.
Fast Five Facts: new or old vehicle,
Old.
summer or winter camping,
I like summer.
rock, sand, snow, or mud,
I do like playing in the snow.
favorite vehicle brand. We already know it's a Jeep, right?
Well, yeah.
And favorite tire.
I'm pretty much digging the BF Goodrich.
Which ones? What ones? The KO2s or what?
That's what I'm running now, and I'm liking them. So we'll see. We'll be up for figuring that out here before too long when these wear out.
I wish we would have started this a long time ago with the Fast Five Facts and actually opened an Excel spreadsheet and written down people's answers, and then we could have like live results for what people say. I think that would have been fun. I have a
Yeah.
feeling that over 50%, if not over 70%, have said BFGs.
Yeah, it's a popular tire. They've been around for a while, right? They've earned it.
I think so. I totally agree. Yep. Thankfully, not 70% have said that Jeep is their favorite rig.
75.
Real quick before we move on, in our comments section here, someone is asking where they sign up. I kind of skipped over where you sign up for our giveaway. It is on our Facebook page. There's a link on our Facebook page. And Ben, did you get one in Instagram, or are you banned over there?
I might be banned over there right now.
I'm ready.
Uh-oh.
It's on your Facebook page.
Yeah,
on our
so
Facebook
go
page.
to Off-Road Podcast on Facebook, and if you haven't been zucked, you can go over there and find the link on how to sign up.
Man, I got zucked for something like I said like 6 months ago. 30 days no streaming for me. So if you're wondering why we're not on Overland Radio, that's why right now.
Yeah.
Ben got zucked and he's the guy. So I gotta make another account for the mean things I say online apparently.
a mean girls page.
Yep, a Mean Girls page.
Wait, did
Well,
you say mean or meme?
Yes.
Mean memes.
Yeah, mean memes.
Memes.
Ben
Memes.
Hamid's page of mean things to say.
Well, Rick, let's crank you through some stuff before we talk about your trip. So answer these quickly so we have lots of time to talk about your overland trip. How'd you get into off-roading?
Oh, my dad, he was we've been off-roading since we were kids. I mean, I learned to drive off-road, and we just always have done it, gone out to far out places to camp out and all that kind of stuff.
So since like the days of Moses.
Just after that.
So, what was the first vehicle that you were taking off road?
Jeep. I mean, well, yeah, probably technically a Jeep, Willie's pickup.
Nice.
Yeah, I used to we used to have a 1.5 mile long driveway, and my job was to take that, and we had an old small gauge rail car that we had tipped on its side with some metal welded on it, and we would drag that on the road as a grader. And so that was my job, to drive that thing up and down the road and grade it.
You pulled a railroad car that was tipped over on its side as a grader.
Yeah.
Very, very cool.
Just the real, the little ones in the mines for the.
Sure, a smaller one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mine, yours. Yeah.
What do you drive now, Rick?
Driving a Jeep, 2018.
One of those nice
Compass or
JL.
Oh, it's not the Compass. That's Eric. That's Eric's rig. Yeah, that's right.
No, he was a Patriot, right?
May have been a Patriot. They're all the same. The Renegade, the Patriot, the Compass.
It
the
was too
Wrangler.
Cherokee.
Careful.
What's your most embarrassing moment on the trail?
Oh, I think that would have to be when I was driving a Toyota Land Cruiser, like a 69 or so, and I took this girl out for a date, and we went down in this riverbed, and went up this river. It was, lots of bank to drive on and stuff, and got it buried to the axles, and we had to walk out.
Mm.
That's a great date.
Yeah, it was. She was real impressed.
I bet she was.
And then a nice walk home.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of like running out of gas.
Sick burn.
So, what was your biggest win on the trail?
Oh, I don't know. I guess as of late, it's just been working with the search and rescue group, and actually finding folks and bringing them off the hill. It's been pretty cool.
Now, Rick, wasn't it your train horn that helped recover someone recently?
I don't know.
Was that mission with your train horn on your Jeep?
I tend to use it.
So yeah. What's your favorite place to wheel, Rick?
Oh, that's a tough one. There's so many cool places. It sort of changes all the time, but I really like the old routes, like the Pony Express route, or the Great Western Trail, or that kind of thing. I really enjoy the history and seeing that history firsthand, kind of, and actually traveling to someplace, not just climbing up on a rock pile or whatever.
Yeah, I noticed with our Nevada trip, like every little placard you saw, you stopped and you went and checked it out. And honestly, that's kind of a cool way to go about it. I mean, being able to understand and read the history of a spot's kind of cool, instead of just blasting through it at full speed to get to the campsite, because that's the goal.
Yeah.
Right, Aaron?
No, we
You're just jealous at how fast I can drive.
I kept up with you.
Yeah, we really enjoy, especially if we have the ability to, research a location where we're going, and see a little bit of the history, read a book while we're there about that history and the travelers that came before us.
Very nice. So are there some places that you have on your bucket list that you haven't been to yet?
I'd really like to do the Baja. I think that would be pretty cool. That's one that I've always wanted to go to.
If you do end up doing that, I've got some places. It'll take me some time to research where they are, but they're places that I hit when I drove from the Baja back home, and you would really enjoy these places.
I would love to get that info if I do get a chance to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Joe Latowski, who was on our show several episodes back, says it's all about the journey, not the destination, but have a cool destination too.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Tom says blasting through can miss things. So yeah, I agree. You do miss things when you go too fast, and I'm totally guilty of that. But sometimes it's nice to get to camp and just chill at camp as well. I can miss a couple historical signs if I can get to camp before dark and have time to just chill after I've set up camp.
Well, I can show you how to do that too.
How to chill at camp?
Yeah, well, because this trip, sometimes we only made it like 30 miles, and then it's like, hey, this is a cool campsite. Let's just stay here. Next thing you know, we're in the hammock with our feet up.
I saw that. Yeah. Well, speaking of that, why don't you tell us about your trip? Tell us how long you were out, where you went, what you saw, what you came across. Yeah.
So we were gone about 6 weeks, and the first week we spent with family in Oregon, and and Washington, or in Oregon and California, excuse me. And, since I'm on a fixed income now, I'm trying to get all the free meals I can. So, it's free lodging and free meals. I couldn't pass it up.
Were they early bird specials?
No, it was mostly dinner stuff. Yeah, so it was good. And then once we left,
probably had pudding.
I can gum that well. So yeah, once we left family, we were in kind of just into Northern California, and we headed across Highway 20, which is a pretty neat highway that cuts across all of California, and ended up over by Lake Tahoe, and got to skirt Lake Tahoe. That's just such a beautiful area. The water is amazing. Then we headed south on 395, which took us down to, actually we stopped at the Travertine Hot Springs on the way. And so this was our first stop was at the Travertine Hot Springs. Once we were truly on vacation, we were out and away from the family and going. And so that was just a real nice break.
How many hot springs were you able to hit on your trip?
I'm not exactly sure. I bet it was, about 6 or so.
Ooh, that's a good problem to have, not remembering how many hot springs you hit.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was pretty neat that through this Central California area on the east side there's a lot of hot springs. They're pretty plentiful. So makes it pretty cool. And so then our first night, really, we got down to Mono Lake and camped out down there. And Mono Lake's pretty cool lake. It's salty, and it's huge and beautiful. There's a lot of features and spires and stuff down there that you can check out and drive around. You can drive around the whole lake, and there's beach areas and whatnot that you can go to and explore. And they actually have a huge pelican rookery that comes in there during mating season, which I'm not exactly sure when that is, but it's pretty cool that they have, all the pelicans come there from the coast and do their thing. From there we just
when you say spires, are you just talking about like just a rock formation that goes up?
Yeah, a lot of neat rock formations like that, which I don't have any pictures to show you, but they're kind of all around the lake. Just I don't know exactly how they form, but it was pretty interesting. And 395 is a pretty cool highway, I think, on the east side of California. It just goes through all these little towns. I mean, once we left, the main drags and coming across in California, we just were in small towns our entire trip, just little burgs. We had trouble finding some things we wanted because places were so small, but it was very enjoyable to be out in these small places, and everybody's so friendly and happy to see you there.
Did you go through Alturas at the very top of 395?
We did on the way home.
That's where how I entered Nevada on the very first Nevada trip I took a couple years ago.
Oh yeah.
Popped down through the northeast corner of
right.
California into Nevada.
Yeah, that's a really cool area.
Super small, like you're talking about. There's not a lot going on in those towns.
Yeah, pretty interesting. So yeah, we just continued on down 395. We would find cool old structures, old homesteads that actually supplied a lot of the mines in the area, and did a lot of farming and that kind of thing. So that all that stuff is very interesting, and so much of it's still. What's that?
This one that you just shared, it's got some sort of like wheel way up in the air at the peak.
Yeah.
That was?
No, I think it was
like a water wheel.
Yeah, I think it was to power other things around there. It wasn't a water wheel, but I think it was like they had some kind of a belt drive or something.
Huh.
It
Really
was
cool.
very interesting. Yeah, I don't know what that was about.
That's one of my favorite things about the dry states or dry sides of states is that
Hmm.
the stuff lasts so much longer and you get to just explore. I
Yeah,
love this two-hole house we shared.
yeah, yeah. The outhouses are always kind of fun, especially when they're too older. It's
Yeah.
like you know, yeah. And of course, like I said, we hit many more hot springs along the way. This one was called Wild Willie's, and it's just out there, and it was pretty popular, but
Keep
Willie
it
was
PG,
contained.
Rick.
Willie was contained. We're all good. But yeah, uh, it was so refreshing to hit those hot springs on a regular basis,
Yeah.
and
I some of your pictures so I'm sharing this one here where you're just kind of
yeah.
at I'm not sure if it's a crossroads or a pull off, but you can see that there's snow in the hills behind you. So was it
Oh yeah.
cold on your trips or
It
pretty
got
mild?
cool in some of the evenings, but mostly it was good. Mostly we had good weather. We got into some elevation a few times, but like this area here that you're seeing is called the Alabama Hills, and it's just
Oh
off
yeah.
395 down in the Lone Pine area, and it was these rocks like this are amazing. We plan on going back and exploring that some more. Um, in fact, there's all these little roads, they're going up and over all those little nooks and crannies and all that stuff. And I came up over this one with the trailer, and it's like tight, you're kind of chicaning around and down, and there's no way I'm going to back up. And there's somebody
Mhm.
camped with a camp trailer right in the spot, like in the road,
Oh,
basically. And I'm like,
worst.
oh man, what am I going to do? So luckily he was there and he moved his van, but I had to like drive over his campfire, and it wasn't burning, but over his fire pit, and get out. And I'm like, oh, sorry, dude, sorry, I can't back up, and stuff, and because it was tight, we were wedged in there.
Hopefully he
Some
learned
people's
something from that.
That's what I'm kind of hoping. Yeah, it's this little thing shoot called the squeeze, and it's apparently popular, and so I was real surprised to see him camp there. So, but it's a beautiful area. I mean, those rocks were amazing. There's mountain bikers love it, and the rock climbers love it. All that, so it's pretty neat. And then this whole trip, we just kind of decided every day, like each evening, we just get out the maps and start looking and decide where to go the next day and what area to go explore. And people would follow us on Facebook, and they're going, "Oh, hey, you got to go see this." So we'd go, "Okay," we go see that. And so almost our whole trip was like that, just uh, just off the cuff, whatever the map showed.
I would I would love to do a trip like that where it is off the cuff because I think that would be even more relaxing to just kind of meander and do whatever as long as you're able to plan far enough in advance and say, well, tomorrow we got to start planning somehow to get fuel somewhere. But beyond that,
Right. Yeah, and then we would run into locals, would say, "Oh, have you seen that or done this?" And so, oh, well, I guess we need to do that.
It's nice when
And
you
that's
can
what I
meet
said.
local.
Some days we would only get like 30 miles or something. It's just because we found something cool to camp by or whatever. And we only paid for camping like 2 nights out of a month of real travel. And
and you
um,
just didn't pay the rest of the nights. You just skipped out on paying.
well, no, we were out in the boonies. Um, but it was most of the time when we camped, we like this, you can't see anybody. When you're this picture you're showing right here is nobody in sight type of thing, and
Yeah.
no neighbors or anything. It was pretty cool being able just to get out there and not see anybody.
Was there much for Box Canyons? This picture here looks pretty sweet.
Yeah, now that's actually in the Mojave Desert. That was
Okay.
right toward the beginning of the Mojave, and that was really cool. We just same thing. We just thought, let's go across the Mojave. We do the old Mojave Trail, and it's something that we both always been interested in and wanted to check out. But it was a little scary because we hadn't really researched it. We just decided to do it. So we.
When you say Mojave Trail, is that what people are calling the Mojave Road? It's a super popular overland route.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the kind of main trail, the old trail that actually used to be the wagon trail and whatever.
Gotcha.
Through the desert. And it was really interesting. There were a lot of things to see there. A lot more terrain and features than I had anticipated. I guess I just assumed it was a flat desert. And
sharp rocks.
But there was some sharp rocks, and there was some hills and some slot canyons. And so it made it pretty interesting as you traveled across there. And we found all kinds of things like the Traveler's Monument. That's just this huge pile of rocks, and everybody that comes by there brings a rock to put on this pile. So it was pretty interesting. A lot of them were actually signed or had dates and where they were from and that kind of thing. So it was you could sit and read this pile of rocks. So it was pretty interesting. And there were a lot of different funny little things out there. I don't know what I'll have pictures of, but there was a mailbox out there in the middle, and you could write a note and leave it, and that kind of thing. A lot of old buildings and structures here and there, and of course they all had a lot of history and that kind of thing.
Did many of these old homesteads have any signage or anything?
Yeah, a lot of them did, and a lot of them talked about the person that that built it, or what their purpose was, that kind of thing. Yeah, that made it pretty enjoyable. And so we just
plant life.
Yeah, a lot of. I mean, these are Joshua trees that you're seeing on the screen now, and they were toward the last 3/4 of the Mojave Desert, and they really were huge, and big, and a lot of other cactus and such that, again, kind of, I just didn't expect. I really didn't know what to expect, but it was pretty interesting to see them out there, and they were beautiful indeed. So yeah, once we cleared the Mojave Desert, which I'd recommend again, and all these areas I'd like to go to again, just to explore them a little more and see what else is there, do a little more research, and there's always little offshoots to go find something new or whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So once we cleared the Mojave, we went down to the Sedona area, and we met one of our daughters down there. She's out of Phoenix area, so she came up to see us for the weekend, and so we found some nice campsites out in the middle of nowhere, that were just pretty amazing, and killer views. Stuff like just looking out over the Red Rock and the with the green and the blue clouds, or the blue sky and the white clouds. It was all, just a contrast. It just was really amazing to look at that all day long. I mean, I almost didn't even have to go anywhere.
I'm assuming that it's fairly green because of the time of the year that you went, or do you think that it stays this green year round?
It was definitely more green. In fact, it was funny. Our daughter from Phoenix was touching the grass. She's like, "Ooh, green grass," and she was touching it.
Dear. So, have her come to my house. I've got plenty. She can come mow.
Yeah. Well, and she's from up here, so I mean, she's just like, "Oh, I miss the grass, real grass." And then anyway, we hung out with her for the weekend, and then we were free for the week, and so we did some Jeep trails and Did some running around there. We did the Broken Arrow Trail and Schnoobly Hill trail, and one other one that I don't remember the name of, but it was really enjoyable to go out and hit some of these trails out there. We took the doors off and the top off, and really just had a good time out there, enjoying the weather. It was, it was so nice just catching some rays and being out there. But we went and hit a lot of these trails that were just amazing. It's just everywhere you look, it's just beautiful. And, you can turn and look at something real close up, or you can turn and look at far away and just see it. I see Tom's asking me if I ever used my spare fuel. Yes, I did. We ended up dumping that in, and I can't even remember where it was that we did that, but we got out there, and I just, I just didn't think I'd make it. So we went ahead and dumped it in. We'd been running right on empty for quite a while, and I was very glad to have it, indeed. And it's that little safety blanket, when you're out there, you just know that you have just a little more fuel to get you on in.
I should mention here real quickly that most of our podcast listeners are probably listening just to the audio. And if you get a chance, join up to YouTube or go to our YouTube page, I should say. And if you get a chance, I mean, even if you've already listened to it, fast forward to this, the interview portion here, and check out all the pictures, because Rick just overwhelmed us with photos. So we're trying to click through them as he's talking, and he's clicked through them. And there's just some great shots in here that words can't describe.
Yeah, that's how it was. That, like I said, the whole trip, I'm glad I got photos, because it was actual real and all that.
Yep, and I'll have the pictures in the show notes as well, that you can always click through. They'll be in a gallery, so because there's
cool.
many of them.
So this is the day we're leaving the Sedona area. We're packed up and heading out, and so it's just a picture of the Jeep all packed up with the trailer behind, and the Sedona Hills in the background.
Which are very red.
Yes, that whole area was red. Everything of ours turned red. I mean, I got red socks and underwear now and stuff like that. It's pretty wild. We got a red dog. It took a while to get her cleaned up.
It's not hard to get from pink to red, Rick.
That's true. Good point. So once we left the Sedona area, that was one of those days we only got about 30 miles. We were all on dirt, and we were just heading down towards the Cottonwood area and Sycamore Canyon. And it was just all back roads. We just would look on the map, same thing, and just find the back roads and try to stay off the pavement. And we totally, by luck, stumbled on this campsite that was right on the Verde River, and nobody there, and a beautiful campsite that just was a soft slope beach right into the water, and this river flowing right by, and firewood already there, and
awesome.
It was just incredible. It was one of those places where you're just like, wow, this is a campsite. And again, it's just off the grid. Like I said, we didn't see anybody while we were there. There were some people camped kind of near us for like 2 nights, but we didn't even see them or hear them until we were leaving one day. And so we ended up staying at this campsite for a week.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was weird,
Like
because
that much, huh?
Well, yeah, because we were going to meet our daughter again the next weekend. And so we were just going to run around this area and just camp at different spots and explore things. But we got to thinking, this campsite is so cool, and there's so many cool hikes that it would be really great to camp out there again, and so and stay for the weekend. And so we just decided we're just going to stay, and we just day tripped out of there every day. We went out to ghost towns, and went down to Prescott one day and that kind of thing, just out exploring. Got to see some cool this place called Jerome. It's they call it a ghost town, but it's a live town, but it's really a cool mining town that has a lot of features, and it's just beautiful. And then we're at the same campsite. There was this hike called Sycamore Canyon, and we were able to walk up it. You can go up and swim. I mean, there were so many big holes you could swim, and the dog was happy because there's plenty of water and all that kind of stuff. So, and it's just loaded with trees, all these sycamore trees. So it's really shaded and comfortable, to hike. While we were in that area, we went and saw Montezuma's castle, I think they call it, and it's that turned out to be one of the things that we saw a lot on the trip was these Indian ruins and the petroglyphs and all that kind of stuff. It was really amazing to see all that and to check it out.
Those are really cool. I'd love to go check out some of that at some point in my life, and I'm pretty sure there's quite a bit of that down in those areas. It looks like one of those guys is parachuting.
Yeah, it does.
The far right.
Yeah, there's so much of it down there. I mean, it was incredible how much we saw. So yeah, looks like some of these pictures got out of order, but we'll work through it. So yeah, I mean, it kind of became a thing, just to go find these ruins and all that stuff. It was really, really amazing.
Yeah.
And then one day we had a traffic jam. It was a mess. Could barely get through. So many cows on the road.
Did you use your horn?
No, I was patient.
Tell them to move.
I told them to move. I got the herd dog out and moved him.
I bet your dog would have loved that.
Yeah, she did at one other camp where we were at. We were keeping him out of camp, and she was totally into that.
They just want to sit around the campfire and have some liquor with you.
That's right.
The wrong kind of liquor, though.
That's true. So, yeah. So once we moved on from that area, we did I click on that or see one of you?
I did. I was going to ask you where that picture was taken.
Yeah, that picture, which the one you just had, I lost it now. Sorry.
That one there.
Yeah, that one was actually looking down on Lockhart Basin and towards Moab. Yeah, so see the road down there, we had come in on the day before to Moab. We spent 2 days on that road, Lockhart Basin Road, going to Moab, and didn't see anybody till we got the last few miles, to Moab there.
I need to quit my job.
It was pretty incredible. Yeah.
Let's retire, Aaron, right?
I'm ready to retire right now. My wife isn't ready for me to retire right now. Wow.
Yeah. And then we went to this place called Gooseneck State Park just for a night, just because it looked kind of cool and just a place to stop. And that was one of the places we played for camping. But it was right on this rim, just you're parked right on the edge of the rim there, looking down on this beautiful river. I believe it's Colorado River, and it just meandering through all this, down these cliffs, and it's just so stunning. I mean, and the pictures just don't even do it justice.
Was it very windy?
Not that night. I think it was pretty mellow. Yeah,
Right.
you get blown right off there. Definitely. Yeah, so like I said, all kinds of ruins everywhere. I mean, we started searching them out and looking them up, trying to find them, and going out and hiking out to them, and finding some really cool stuff to check out. We went into this, same thing. We would talk to locals, and they would go, "Hey, did you go over here? Did you see this? Did you see that?" And I'm like, "No, not yet." So that's how we stumbled on a bunch of these ruins up in here, um, by folks just pointing us in the right direction.
Awesome.
Yeah, and again, campsites, just nobody around, and it was funny. Almost every campsite we went to had firewood, and so we got to enjoy that pretty regularly. We had a little bit of weather move in for a couple of days, here and there, but we got almost no rain. I mean, I wouldn't even call it rain coming from Washington. And like I said, just cool old homesteads out in the middle of nowhere. You're just driving along, and here they are, and it's pretty amazing. Just like I said, all the stuff's so well preserved. So this is again looking down on the Lockhart Basin, just as far as you can see, just rock features and the river. I mean, you can't even see the end. It's just like there's nobody out there. It's just incredible.
That is phenomenal.
Yeah. So we got to this one campground. We went into Moab, and it was so crowded that we just couldn't take it. We're like, I mean, there's no place to camp at all. And to get a campsite, like in a campground in town was like $75 or something. And so we ran into this ranger and said, "Hey, what's going on? Is there any place we can get out of here? Just to go wild camp and stuff?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, there's this campground, but I've never seen anybody camp at it. Nobody camps there." So he sent us out there. We get there, and the campground was completely full, every single space. And then it's nighttime, and this guy comes over, whistles at us. He's like, "Hey, you guys looking for a site?" "Yeah, we're." And he goes, "Well, there's one site right here. The guy just left." He said, "We're all volunteers for a trail work party, and we've been here all week, and we're leaving first thing in the morning, but you can have that campsite." So we pull in, and we're like, "Sweet, we'll just we'll camp here." And then they all left the next day, and we stayed there another night, had the whole place to ourselves again. It was really, really pretty cool.
How
And
much
then
was that, a night there?
pardon me?
How much did that spot cost a night?
Oh, it was like $5 or something.
Oh, nice.
It was BLM.
It's a
campsite.
whole lot better than $70 a night, I'd imagine.
Oh yeah. Well, and nobody around,
Yeah.
right? All the ones in town, $70 a night, they were packed. And you're just, how it is, you're at these RV parks, you're just sardined in there.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And then at this location, we had a buddy of mine join me, and he is he's the owner of Lost River Winery. So we had good wine for the next 4 or 5 nights. So that was pretty darn nice.
He gave you 20 bottles, and you had enough for 4 or 5 nights.
Now that'd be enough for just 2 or 3 nights. But
that's why you bring a trailer. I know that's why. Just to haul the booze.
That's right. And then of course we saw more ruins everywhere we go, and it kind of, like I said, became a thing. For those that can see the picture, this one's called House on Fire, or House of Fire, and so you can just imagine the fire up above this. It really looks like it's on fire. And it's especially different times of the day. Apparently, it changes. And we went out and explored this thing called the Moki Dugway, And look at this road. I mean, it's just like a spaghetti just slapped on the wall or something. Just all twisty turny.
I like how the map says caution, narrow something switchbacks.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And it's dirt. It's interesting, but it's, and then this is the road, the same thing, you're looking at it and the actual road, but it was pretty incredible. It was cool to see just some neat features out there in the middle of nowhere when you travel around. Stuff like this. There's this one gas station called Hollow Mountain Gas Station, and the actual building is inside this mountain. It's a trip.
Yeah. I've heard that there's actually several places across the state that are like that, where there's businesses and houses just dug in.
Oh, yeah. Well, we ran into some more a little bit later that were utilizing the cliffs and stuff too. That it must be in here somewhere, but we'll probably find those as we go. But yeah, again, just finding these campsites out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, I use the Gaia a lot, and I use these. What do they call them? The Roads and Wrecks Atlas. I love these things.
Oh yeah,
they are great. But I really like the ones that are roads and wreck. They seem to have the most information on them for things to go find and do. And we did a little Slot Canyon hiking while we were there. Pretty incredible.
Did you need your
pilot? That was actually in the Grand Escalante National Monument. Very, very amazing area. Just incredible. And you can hike way up inside these slot canyons, pretty much as far as you are willing to go. Like you can see in some of these, I mean, you got to climb over some boulders and whatnot, but it's pretty amazing. It's worth doing. Absolutely. And then you guys were asking about this big bowl. I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of like a volcano cone, but it has this huge rock in the middle of it, and it's a huge cone. I mean, it's probably 400 feet across or something, and it has this huge rock right in the middle, and all this light, very fine sand gets trapped in it. And as you can climb down in there, they call it the cosmic eye. And you can actually climb down in it. I mean, you can, for those that can see the pictures, you can see that there's, that's Karen down in there, and it's makes her look really small in this huge bowl. And the sand is so fine, and they've cut these little steps down into it so you can get down in there and out of there, really, because you can get in pretty easy. But yeah, you can see our tracks down in there. Well, before we left, it was windy, and before we left, our tracks were almost completely gone. That's how it just that sand is on the move all the time. And this is all in the Grand Escalante National Monument in Utah, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful area. We were really, really enjoying this area. I would definitely go back to that area again. And tons of neat rock features everywhere you go. Again, back into all kinds of different colored rock and features that you're just like, how is that even standing? It looks like you could just tip it over or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, we just kind of kept moving. Like I said, checking the map, checking out areas we might like to go. We ended up down on Lake Powell on the way out. Again, we took more off-road routes, just like to get out of the Escalante area. We took this road called the Left Colette canyon road, whatever the heck that is. And it was really, really cool because you're deep in this canyon, just cutting back and forth and winding your way through. And then you come out, up over this pass and you're down, you come out at Lake Powell. So we had to go check out Lake Powell, spend the night there. So I don't know if you guys have this feature on your rigs. I love this new feature on the Jeep. It's an automatic gate opener. And all I have to do is press the door unlock button for the passenger side and the gate opens. I mean, it is so
Amazing.
cool.
That's amazing.
That
it is. I mean,
absolutely amazing. I need one of those.
Yeah, you do.
Is that Lake Powell?
Yes, that is. And then after Lake Powell, we headed out to Death Valley, and we went into some of the very remote areas of Death Valley. No paved roads out here anywhere, and it was very enjoyable. We were getting a little bit of, we were in the St. George area, and we're getting a little bit of rain coming in. So we're like, hey, let's get out of here. Let's go for some sun. So we would just point the Jeep in another direction and headed for the sun. And we found it here. It was really, really enjoyable. And this is one of those training areas that they fly military aircraft over. So we would get jets and these, C-141s or whatever they are, just flying really low right on the deck, right over the top of us. It was pretty cool to see, pretty cool to watch. But the Death Valley area is someplace that has a lot of history and a lot of buildings and a lot of stuff to see and look at and do there. So it's really one of those places that's fascinating. Just all the history that, of who came there. The 49ers coming through there, and the miners trying to make a living there, and that kind of stuff. And so it's pretty interesting to check out and to explore. And again, there's structures and buildings and cars and stuff like that all over this place.
So I've never looked at Death Valley on a map, period. I figure at some point it would be something fun to go check out. I just kind of assumed that Death Valley was a valley or a flat plain or something, almost desert, but there is a ton of mountains. Mountain range just cuts right through all over, and Death Valley isn't so much a valley.
Yeah, I mean, look, you can see snow-capped mountains most of the time there.
Yeah.
And this is actually like not in the Death Valley proper. It's in the Death Valley National Park, but it's called the Saline Valley, and it has a lot of really cool features that, like I said, you could go explore. There's a lot of ruins out there. There's some couple plane crashes. There's just hot springs, all kinds of stuff that you can go explore.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's worth checking out, and it's one of those places where you really need to spend 5 or 6 days a week, kind of minimum. It's so huge. Like you said, you just kind of think of it as a little valley that's just got it's just dry desert. But there's cool things like there's a spring there, or a hot river basically that has fish in it that are blind, that there's a little tiny minnow like things, just all kinds of oddities like that you just don't see anywhere else. I mean, that's the only place they find them. So it's pretty fun. We need to do a trip there. Yes. I'd love to lead a trip down there. That would be really cool.
We'll follow you.
Okay. Sounds good. What are you doing tomorrow?
Or pass you.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see you at the campsite.
Tomorrow's Ben's day off, so.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
I'm sure I can make time for it.
So once we left there, we went to a place called Lake Crowley, and the water was amazingly clear. And talk about features. I mean, there was just weird features there. They look like these, I don't know how to describe them, almost like vertebrae, all stacked up in these columns that have been eroded away around them. So it's like some harder rock that was in there, and it's been eroded away. And even the ones that have fallen down, they look like vertebrae, laying down on the ground, kind of just a round disc, like a puck or something. But
I've been waiting to ask you about these for a long time since you posted those pictures. I've been wanting to hear your stuff on it.
And again, we have a ton of stuff we want to look up, like how did this form or how did that happen or whatever. And I still don't know, but it is pretty interesting how all these things form and what they look like. I mean, just it's worth checking out for sure.
Looks like you can drive all the way around that lake too.
Yeah, you can.
Almost.
Yeah, they don't let you camp around it. It was really interesting because we kept in this area in California, we kept running into areas that were owned by Los Angeles, the city of Los Angeles. So like this whole lake, I think or this portion where we were there or something is owned by the city of Los Angeles. And they have actually purchased a lot of areas that have water flowing in them. And
of course they have
reserved them. Yeah. So.
Yep. Bastards.
Yeah. Oh, and then we found more hot springs, just what we do.
I mean, that's a nice thing to go do on a trip is hop in a hot spring.
Oh, totally. I mean, it's so refreshing. This one we went in for breakfast, for coffee in the morning, hanging out, enjoying it, and we were camped right there, right next to it, basically. And that was pretty cool. I mean, it's just like you said, so refreshing and just kind of renews you. And then I don't know if you ever heard of Bodie State Park. It's a state park in California, but it's a ghost town. It's an entire ghost town, and it's huge. I mean, I think there must be a couple hundred buildings. I'm not sure, but they're there, and there's lots of them. And apparently, in high season, the rangers or whatever volunteers will dress up in costume and period clothing and hang out and on the streets and whatever. I mean, it's just like people just picked up their belongings and walked away, and here all these buildings sit.
That's a big
car.
Yeah.
That's a big town.
It is a big town.
There's a lot of structures there.
I mean, there's easily a couple hundred structures, and then there's a whole mine and all the equipment and buildings and all that up on the hill next to it as well.
Man.
And some of them burned, or I mean, fire is probably their worst enemy up there.
Yeah.
But it's pretty neat because the state. So you can see in some of these pictures I'm posting they have new roofs on them. But it's interesting because the buildings that have sway back or whatever, they just stabilize them as they are and like re-roof them with the sway back in it and everything, and just just to preserve them and leave them as they are. And they're
rather than straightening them out and getting them all plumb and square.
Yeah. So
Is that where you stayed?
Yeah, that's where I got thrown into one night. Yeah. No, that was the old jailhouse, and no, I didn't make it in there. I didn't make it in this pen either, into the cemetery.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's even a cemetery there. Man,
yeah, so it was pretty dang big.
Were those headstones fairly recent, like former residents recent, or?
Yeah, a lot of them were former residents. The latest one we saw was, I think it was just like about 5 years ago or something like that. Was one of the last residents, and he actually helped the state, with the history and how to maintain the buildings and that kind of thing. And yeah, so that was pretty dang cool. And I got a dad joke for you if you want.
Yes, please.
You know why they put fences around cemeteries?
People are dying to get in.
You got it. Winner, winner. He's a dad.
Yep. I wonder how hard it would be to get buried in a ghost town. Like me, I wasn't born there. I wasn't raised there. I have no history there.
Oh yeah,
I'd have to just pay the state some money to be buried in their ghost town.
I bet you could there in Bodie, because I
Can I?
think it's a live. It's a actual cemetery, working cemetery.
Yeah. Can I sponsor a house so I can be buried there?
I bet you could.
And then
Try
people
it.
would be wondering why somebody got buried there in 2022.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
From COVID-23.
Right. So, not long after Bodie, we had a little trouble with the axle on the trailer,
Yeah.
and
A little bit of trouble.
it broke. The spindle actually broke. And for those that can see the picture, it actually broke right where the pin goes through, is drilled through where the pin is, which
Yeah.
kind of shocked me. I didn't really think it would break there. I figured all the stress would be inboard of that. But we had to drag it a mile and a half on a dirt road to get it out to the pavement. And then once we got there, we tried to get AAA to help us, and they were pretty much not much help.
Which is
And,
kind of
that's
surprising.
I know it's kind of a long story, but we broke down about 2:30, 3 o'clock, and at 8:30 that night they called and said they got a tow truck that's 2.5 hours out. And we're like, no, we're good. We jacked it up, and this is where we spent the night. We jacked it up and got it all leveled up so we could camp there for the night. And we just stayed right there. And then, thanks to you guys and the help of a bunch of people, posting on Facebook and all that kind of stuff, we ended up finding a guy that came out with his flatbed trailer and picked us up. He was on another 4x4 group in Nevada, and he was gracious enough to come out and help us out. And he actually has the trailer at his house now, and the axle is on order and will be at his house probably on Thursday or Friday. And then he's actually going to put the trailer axle in for me.
Oh, nice.
And then we're gonna buzz down, pick it up, and kind of continue our trip.
So
Finish
the trip's
it
not
off.
even done yet?
So the trip's not even done yet.
Nice.
So you
I
can
can't
you
even-
can tag along, Ben.
There you
You can sit in
go.
the back with the dog.
There we go.
You could sit in the trailer.
Rick, adopted
Yeah.
son.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was kind of a bummer, but the fortunate thing is we were on the last few days of our trip, and so we were able just to leave it. I mean, we tried to get a U-Haul trailer, and they wouldn't let us put a trailer on a trailer. We were too honest,
Yeah.
and
It's a
So-
motorcycle. It's
Yeah.
only got 2 wheels. It's a motorcycle.
I
well, it
think
had
it's
to have 4
right.
wheels to go in a car trailer.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, I know.
It's
So-
a car.
Kind of an abrupt end of the trip, and I knew the
Well,
the axle was toast.
not end. It's the pause of the trip.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So we'll definitely go back down and pick it up, and hopefully it'll all be squared away, and then we'll get to do some more exploring on the way home. So I guess there's a continuation, part 2. of the trip.
Part 2. All right.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully it won't be as eventful trailer wise, but it'll still be a great time.
Yeah.
Have you
I agree.
needed to do any extra maintenance on the Jeep since you've been back?
Not really. I actually have one exhaust pipe is rubbing one of the skid plates, and I'm not sure why it's doing it now. I'm wondering if the motor mounts are loosening up, or just getting not loosened necessarily, but getting older.
Mm-hmm.
Or if I got a manifold that's the bolts are getting loose or something like that. I need to check into that. But otherwise, it's doing good. I got 50,000 miles on the Jeep now.
Time to trade it in.
Yeah, I guess so. How many miles are on your Jeep, Jeremy?
Time for the Bronco.
Yeah, the Bronco. There you go.
I'm sure they make them in safety orange. Komatsu. I think that's Komatsu orange that you have.
No, it's actually pumpkin orange. PUNK''N. That's what they did. I didn't choose it. Yeah. So.
Well, thanks for coming on and talking about your trip and sharing all the photos. It's great. Tom in the comments here says that it's an abrupt pause, but we'll have part 2 soon. So it sounds like maybe we need to get you back on to talk about the rest of it. Unless it was really boring, then we won't have you on.
That's pretty much how our trips are. Just boring. Just going and hanging out in hammocks and looking at the mountains and stuff.
Yeah. Well, we want to thank everyone who listens to us weekly. Big shout out to Tom this week. He definitely carried us through with the comments all the way to the end here, even though our show is an hour and a half long. We appreciate you all you guys out there. Make sure you're telling your friends about us. Like and subscribe. Have them check us out, and just share us with your off-road fan base. So we really appreciate it. Appreciate you guys, and God bless America.
Don't forget to visit Patriot Patch and join the Patch of the Month Club. Check out our Gaia affiliate link for up to 40% off. Also, don't forget to head over to Warren and Power Tank to see all of their great gear. We are a proud part of the Firearms Radio Network. Got a question or comment? Send it to us through our webpage at firearmsradio.tv or through our social media channels by searching for Off-Road Podcast. Also, you can listen to us live at overlandradio.com, Mondays at 7 p.m. Pacific. When off-road, please remember to have fun, tread lightly, be safe and courteous, and thanks for listening